your quizmaster for this game between Philemon Wright and Ridgemont. Now I'd like the players to introduce themselves, starting with Philemon Wright.
Joel Cam.
Mike Cam.
And from Ridgemont?
Nick Swamp.
Sharouz.
Jim Carriganis.
Robbie Ham.
Thank you. We'll now play 3 rounds of questions with a minute break between each round. If the scorekeeper is ready, let's begin round 1 of School Reach. 40-point snap start to round 1. What is the highest waterfall in Canada? Mike?
Niagara Falls.
That's incorrect. Ridgemont? Nick?
Victoria Falls.
That's incorrect. Takaka Falls in BC. What country completely surrounds Lesotho? Sharouz?
South Africa.
That's correct. In what war did the Battle of the Somme take place? Nick?
World War I.
That's correct. The controversial experimental treatment of which disease involves transferring brain tissue from aborted fetuses into the brains of patients? Jim?
Parkinson's disease.
That's true. 30-point open question on music. If a choir is singing a cappella, what does this mean? No answer? The answer is there are no accompanying instruments. And to what musical period did J.S. Bach belong? Nick?
Baroque.
That's true. Who wrote the ballets Appalachian Spring and Billy the Kid? Nick?
Stravinsky.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? No guess? Correct answer is Aaron Copland. 30-point open question on history dates. On November 9th, 1938, thousands of Jewish synagogues and businesses were looted and destroyed on Hitler's orders as retaliation for the shooting of a German embassy official in Paris. This day has a special name. What is it? Nick?
Black Monday.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? No answer? The correct answer is Kristallnacht, except Crystal Night. Next question. Ernst Röhm and hundreds of suspected opponents of Hitler and his Nazi party were executed by firing squad on the night of June 30th, 1934. What name is given to this event? No answer? Nick?
Alternaut.
No, that's incorrect. Any guess? No? The Night of the Long Knives. On what day did Hitler invade Poland, marking the beginning of World War II? Sharouz?
July the 2nd, 1939.
That's incorrect. September 1st, 1939 is the right answer. Now on to a 40-point team question. In this 2-part team question, whichever team is first to answer correctly the 5-point scramble question in part 1 is then eligible for the remaining 10-point questions in part 2. Part 1, scramble for 10 points. Hanoi is a city in which Asian country? Mike?
Japan.
That's incorrect. Ridgemont? Jim?
Vietnam.
That's true, for 5 points. The remaining questions deal with Vietnam and are only open to Ridgemont's. First question. Dien Bien Phu was a key battle which, in 1954, ended the imperialist involvement of what country in what is now Vietnam? Jim?
China.
That's incorrect. France is the right answer. Which leader who died in 1969 led opposition to both French and American involvement in Vietnam? Nick?
Mao Zedong.
No, that's incorrect. Ho Chi Minh is the correct answer. What 2 countries united in 1976 to form Vietnam? Jim?
North Vietnam, South Vietnam.
That's right. Back to open questions, 4 of them, on Ottawa landmarks. One of the city's most prominent churches is St. Andrew's on the corner of Kent and Wellington Streets. What religious denomination worships at St. Andrew's? Nick?
Presbyterian.
That's right. On which Ottawa street would I find the, quote, Mile of History, which includes the Canadian War Museum and the Royal Canadian Mint? Mike?
Sussex.
That's right. The Ottawa Rough Riders and the Ottawa Bootleggers play their home games. Rob?
Lansdowne Park.
That's right. Which academic institution is found along the Rideau Canal between Dow's Lake and Mooney's Bay? Mike?
Ottawa University.
That's incorrect. Ridgemont? Jim? That's right. Here's a 20-point special on memory math. What is the number of NHL teams
Reset.
plus the number of basic food groups times the number of colors in the Canadian flag? Shrews.
27.
That's incorrect. Oh, Mike.
30.
No. The correct answer is 50. 21 plus 4 times 2. What is the number of Canadian provinces divided by the number of NHL teams in the province of Quebec? Jim.
5.
That's right. Here we go on to assigned questions on Shakespeare. Here's an assigned question on Shakespeare in which each member of each team is assigned a 10-point question. If you miss your question, then your counterpart on the opposing team will have a chance at it for 5 points. The introduction is, what is the name of the play by Shakespeare in which the following characters appear? Since Philemon Wright does not have a player in the first position, I'll give the first question as a rebound to Nick. Prospero.
Merchant of Venice.
That's incorrect. The Tempest is the right answer. Now on to Joel from Philemon Wright. Brutus.
Julius Caesar.
That's correct, for 10 points. For Mike, Laertes.
Othello.
That's incorrect. Jim? That's right, 5 points. Okay.
100.
And, since they don't have a fourth player
one-
either, I'll give the rebound to Rob.
100.
Yeah, 100. Okay, Banquo.
Macbeth.
That's right, for 5 points. Okay, now I'll go on to Ridgemont for their 10 questions. Starting with Nick, Titania.
A Midsummer Night's Dream.
That's right. 10 points. For Charouz, Shylock.
Richard III.
That's incorrect. Joel, for the rebound?
Merchant of Venice.
That's correct. Jim, Desdemona. That's right. 10 points. And finally for Rob, La Pucelle, Joan of Arc. No answer? I don't blame you. Henry VI, Part 1. Okay, now on to 3 open questions on scientists. Which English chemist defined an atom as the smallest? Jim. That's correct, yes. Which American chemist developed the quantum theory
Reset.
of chemical bonding? Joel.
Planck.
That's incorrect. Ridgemont? Nick.
Einstein.
That's incorrect. Linus Pauling is the right answer. Which French physicist discovered the inverse square law for the force between electric charges? Jim. That's correct. 40-point snap rate to end round 1. Canola is Canada's largest selling vegetable oil. What is the more accurate name for canola, which is, by the way, the prairie's second largest crop? Joel.
Corn oil.
That's incorrect. Ridgemont? Jim.
Glycine wax.
No, rapeseed is the right answer. What Canadian from Cobourg, Ontario starred with Charlie Chaplin in the 1914 hit Tilly's Punctured Romance? Nick?
Raven Burr.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? No answer? Marie Dressler is the correct answer. Veronica Tennant has collaborated on a children's book with which skater artist who illustrated it? Jim?
Wait.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? No guess? Tyler Cranston is the right answer. The North Atlantic Faroe Islands belong to which country? Joel?
Iceland.
That's incorrect. Which one? Nick?
Denmark.
That's right. And that's the end of round 1 with the score 155 for Ridgemont and 35 for Philemon Wright.
We can hear. If there are no,
Could you speak up a little bit? Yeah, okay. All right.
Okay, get started then.
Okay, let's start round 2 with a 40-point snap start. What distilled spirit gets its name from the Gaelic for water of life? Nick,
Gin.
that's incorrect. Philemon? Joel?
Who's whiskey?
That's correct. If the Northwest Territories, covering over 3.4 million kilometers, were to secede from Canada and form a sovereign country, they would form one of the largest nations in the world. What would their ranking be? Mike?
5th largest.
That's incorrect. Ridgemont? Jim?
6th.
Incorrect. 7th largest is the right answer. In
Oh, okay. We'll have to cause a little bit of a break. Well, team's ready? Here we go. Oh, Brad, do you want to use the third the button on, if you're left-handed, move over? Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's continue with the revised Philemon Wright team. In 1755, Governor Lawrence deported what group of colonists? Brad?
Acadians.
No.
That's incorrect. I'll finish the question. What group of colonists from their homes in Nova Scotia, Ridgemont? Nick?
The Acadians.
That's correct.
Your first audible answer was incorrect, I think. You said Canadians, I think. Eh?
Well, I thought it sounded Canadian.
Okay, well, we'll check it on the tape, but yeah. Quizmaster, did you say?
Well, I didn't quite hear it clearly enough to understand. I was about to ask you for judgment.
Yeah, okay. Basically, on questions where you correct yourself, if you're just saying the correct answer, that's okay. But if you start with the wrong answer and correct yourself, we'll have to delete it. So it'll be on the videotape. But Brad, you said Acadians, is that right?
Yeah. That's what I think I said.
Okay. I think we'll go with Ridgemont for this one. Okay. Next, I'll listen to the tape if there's a close game.
Okay, and now our final snap start question. What is Canada's motto? In Latin, amare usque ad mare. Brad?
From sea to shining sea.
No.
That's incorrect. Ridgemont? Rob?
From sea to sea.
That's correct. Now onto a 40-point Who Am I question. This question is worth 40 points if you guess the answer on the first clue, and 10 points less with each succeeding clue, until either team answers the question correctly. Clue A for 40 points. After my graduation from the Saltbichen, or whatever it's called, College de Montréal, I joined the Fils de la Liberté. Who am I? Jim?
Duplessis.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? Brad?
Henri Bourassa.
That's incorrect. Clue B for 30 points. After my participation in the 1837 rebellion, I escaped... Mike?
Mackenzie.
That's incorrect. I'll finish the question. I escaped to Vermont. The following year, I was allowed back to Montreal to practice law. Who am I? Jim?
Real.
That's incorrect. Clue C for 20 points. As chief... Brad?
Louis-Joseph Papillon.
That's incorrect. I'll finish the question for Ridgemont. As chief of the Bleu, I formed a coalition with John A. Macdonald's Conservatives. Who am I? Nick?
Laurier.
That's incorrect. Final clue for 10 points. Despite my... Mike? That is correct. 3 open questions now on architecture. What was the name of the residence that served as the dwelling of the governors of Canada until it was destroyed by a fire in 1834? Brad?
Government House.
That's incorrect. Ridgemont? Nick?
Dominion Hall.
No, Chateau Saint Louis is the right answer. When its construction had been completed in 1929, it stood as the tallest building in the British Empire. What was the name of this Toronto hotel? Nick?
Chateau Frontenac.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? Brad?
Toronto Hilton.
No, the Royal York is the correct answer. What provincial legislature met in a building known as the Birdcage until 1957? Brad?
Newfoundlands.
That's incorrect. Ridgemont? Charus.
Nova Scotia.
No, BC is the correct answer. 30-point open question on astronomy. In what constellation is the North Star? Nick,
Ursa Minor.
that's correct. How many times would a hyperbolic comet pass the Earth? Jim, once. That's correct. Other than the moon, what is the brightest object in the night sky? Brad.
Venus.
That's correct, yes. A 40-point open question now on history. In what year did Great Britain formally acknowledge the independence of the 13th? Brad.
1783.
That's correct. Well done. Which Soviet leaders retreat in the Cuban Missile Crises and the ideological rift? Jim. That's correct. The 30 Years' War was fought mainly in what European country? Brad.
Germany.
That's right. And I'll let the scorekeeper catch up.
It's 205, I think. And 85.
Okay. Which leader represented France at the signing of the Versailles Treaty in 1919? Brad.
Clemenceau.
That's correct. We now have an 80-point open question on art. The scorekeeper will pass each team 2 reproductions of the same art reproduction. I'll let you pass them out and take a look at them before I start asking the question.
Make sure you know which one is A. It's sort of confusing. Find A and B and C.
Look at the pictures reproduced on the back page and answer the following questions. First question. Name the 19th century artist who painted number 23A. Nick.
Sloan.
That's incorrect. Philemon? Brad?
Monet.
No. Paul Gauguin is the correct answer. His nationality was French, but in what country was he living when he painted this work? Nick.
United States.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? Brad?
Brazil.
No. Tahiti is the correct answer. With what famous Dutch artist was Gauguin associated? Brad?
Van Gogh.
That's correct. A Flemish master painted number 23B depicting a village wedding. What was his name? Jim?
Rembrandt.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright. Mike? That's incorrect. Pieter Bruegel is the right answer. In what century did Bruegel live? Jim? That's incorrect. Philemon Wright. Brad?
19.
No, the 16th century is the right answer. Bruegel was influenced by what older Dutch contemporary? Mike?
Rembrandt.
That's incorrect. Ridgemont? No answer? Bosch is the correct answer. The artist who painted number 23C, called The Crucified Christ with the Virgin Mary, Saints and Angels, lived during the Renaissance and was commissioned by the church. Who was he? Nick?
Michelangelo.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright. Brad?
Leonardo da Vinci.
No. Another Ninja Turtle, Raphael. Which fellow Italian artist taught Raphael to use sketches to produce more Mike?
Michelangelo.
That's incorrect. Produce more complex compositions. Ridgemont. Nick?
Da Vinci.
Yes, that's correct. That's it for the art questions for now. We'll go on to 30-point open question on words. The following questions all have the answers beginning with the letters S-I-M, or sim. What pass in the Alps in southern Switzerland is near a railway tunnel connecting Switzerland and Italy? Nick?
Simon.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? Joe?
Simao.
No, it's Simplon. What is a figure of speech in which one... Jim?
Simile.
That's correct. What is a hot, dry, dust-laden desert wind? Nick?
Sibotu.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? No answer? A simoon. Now 4 open questions to end the round. What beverage company was organized by Asa Cobler at Atlanta in 1892? Brad?
Coca-Cola.
That's correct. Who's the star attraction at the world's first Wild West show held at Niagara Falls, Ontario in 1872? Jim?
Takeoff.
That's correct. George Simpson was governor of the Hudson's Bay Company from 1825 to 1860. What was his nickname? Brad?
Fur.
No, that's incorrect. Ridgemont. No answer? Cherouse. No, The Little Emperor. Edited by Ephraim Chambers and issued in 1728, what was the name of the first modern encyclopedia? Nick?
Encyclopedia Britannica.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? Mike?
Encyclopedia Americana.
That's also incorrect. The correct answer is cyclopedia. That ends round 2 with a score of 235 for Ridgemont and 115 for Philemon Wright.
Okay, get on with it, please.
Now on to round 3 with 4 snappers. Who is the sidekick of Don Quixote? Nick?
Machiavelli.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? No answer. Sancho Panza is the correct answer. What is Canada's most abundant source of electrical power? A Cherouse.
James Bay.
Oh, wow.
Mm,
It's hydroelectric.
yeah,
Water.
yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll accept that from
Mhm.
Ridgemont. 10 points apiece. Canada's first royal visitor arrived in 1786. Which king did that young prince later become? Brad,
King William.
Which one?
more please.
Fourth.
That's correct. Name the female star of the movie African Queen. Jim.
Emperor.
That's correct. Now, a 40-point team question. In this 2-part team question, whichever team is first to answer correctly, the 5-point scramble question in part 1 is then eligible for the remaining 10-point questions in part 2. Part 1, scramble for 5 points. What has a value of 3.141592? Nick.
Pi.
That's correct. The remaining questions deal with pi and are open only to Ridgemont. Good luck with this question. What is pi the ratio of? Jim.
Radius to the diameter.
No.
That's incorrect. The ratio of any circle to its diameter. Pi is the 16th letter of what alphabet? Jim.
Greek alphabet.
That's correct. And what does pi mean? Nick?
Section.
No. Periphery is the correct answer. Now on to 4 open questions on music, and the introduction reads, identify the singer of the following Grammy Award-winning records of the 1980s. First song, Higher Love of 1986. Mike?
Steve Winwood.
That's correct. Betty Davis Eyes, 1981. Nick?
Blondie.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright. Please, audience, don't give out the answers.
Madonna.
That's incorrect. Kim Carnes is the right answer. What's love got to do with it? 19... Jim. Too long. Philemon Wright. Brad.
Lionel Richie.
No. Tina Turner is the right answer. And here's one you should get. Don't worry, be happy. Cherouse.
Bobby McFerrin.
That's right. 40-point open question on comics. Another introduction. I'll give you the name of a comic strip. You give me the name of the author or authors. Blondie. Jim.
Brown.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? No. Young and Drake is the correct answer. The Far Side. Mike.
Gary Larson.
That's right. Bill and Mavis. Nick.
Wicks.
That's right. And Bizarro. Bizarro. Nick?
Smith.
That's incorrect. Dan Piraro is the correct answer. 30-point open question on sports terms. In football, what term is used to describe a player warding off a tackler with an outstretched arm? Cherouse. That's too long. Brad?
Straight arm.
That's correct. In golf, what do you call a score of 2 under par?
Reset.
Sorry.
Eagle.
That's correct. Sorry about that, guys. In baseball, what term describes a fly ball hit with less than 2 out that enables a runner on third base to... Jim.
Sacrifice.
That's correct. Now onto a 90-point snap out to end the game. In what Canadian city would I find Casa Loma? Shrewd?
Quebec City.
That's incorrect. Philemon Wright? Brad?
Montreal.
No, Toronto's right answer. Who co-stars with Ted Danson as Rebecca on the Mike?
Kirstie Alley.
That's correct. Who wrote the novel The Last Temptation of Christ? Shrews. That's too long. Philemon Wright? No answer. Nikos Kazantzakis. In what city is the statue referred to as the Golden Boy located? Jim. That's correct. Who succeeded William Casey as CIA director? Brad.
George Bush.
That's incorrect. Ridgemont. Nick.
Maxwell.
No, William Webster is the correct answer. Before Steffi Graf, who was the last woman to capture a Grand Slam in Mike.
Martina Navratilova.
That's incorrect in tennis. Ridgemont. Shrews.
Sabatini.
No, Margaret Court. Goes kind of far back. Christianity was legalized in the Roman Empire following a 313 AD edict of which emperor? Brad.
Caesar Augustus.
That's incorrect. Ridgemont? Shrews.
Titus.
No, Constantine the Great is the right answer. Henry Winkler played which character? Mike.
Fonz.
That's correct. What nationality was the dramatist Henrik Ibsen? Joel.
Norwegian.
That's correct. And that's the end of the game. The score 300 for Ridgemont and 195 for Philemon Wright.
Okay. Good game, guys. It's going to be interesting because all the teams are in it still. Okay, good. Mm-hmm.